Hi, and welcome to our tutorial on the layout of the Scratch screen. When you create a new project, you'll be greeted by this. I'm going to show you everything and how everything works. Over here in this section of the screen, this is where you code everything. To drag blocks there, you're going to grab them from this section of the screen. Over here, you can drag your blocks in from the blue section to the red section. You'll notice that on the top of the blue section, right over here, there are different tabs. These different tabs control the blocks that you want to view. For example, if you want to see the blocks that control how the sprite looks, you click on Looks. Down here on this section of the screen is where all your sprites are shown. Sprites, you can think of sprites as actors. They'll do whatever you program to do. On this side of the screen, you can think of this as the stage. The stage is where all the actors perform what they are told to do over here. The stage can also do things. For example, change backgrounds. To access the stage's coding, you want to click on the stage right over here. Up here is where you can name your project, and the green flag and the stop button. On the very top section of the screen, there's a Scratch button, which brings you back to the Scratch homepage. Then there is a button that lets you change your language, a File button, Edit button, which has a very useful undelete, and if you accidentally deleted something, you'll get it back, a Tips button, and an About button. Lastly, we have some tools over here. The Stamp one lets you stamp sprites. This scissors deletes a sprite. This makes a sprite get bigger, a sprite get smaller, and this over here is a question mark if you need help on anything. Our final set of buttons on this page are these. You can share your project by simply clicking this button, and this makes it so everybody can see your project. You can get comments, likes, and favorites. And this one is See Project Page, and it just lets you see the page of your project, and if it's shared, you'll see all the likes and everything just like that. This button over here will just take you back to your stuff, your programs. Finally, what we'll get into now, these scripts, costumes, and sounds are different tabs. The scripts shows all of this. Now we'll show you some other things that we have to offer. Here's the costumes page. In the costumes page, you can access certain things. For example, make the actor, in this case the cat, wear different costumes. Now the cat is wearing a costume that shows him in a different running position. You'll notice that only certain sections of the screen stays the same. For example, over here, all of this section is the same as before. The only thing that changed when we click on costumes were the things over here. So we can focus in on this part. This is our editor. In our editor, it allows us to essentially edit the Scratch Cat's costume. So, if we click on this button over here, we can choose a costume from the library because they already have costumes that are provided. We have all these very cool costumes. Although, if you're feeling more artistic, we actually can draw our own costume. You'll notice that over here, down there in that section, we have a section just for selecting your color. You can select your color if you want to draw. This is for selecting your color. Over here, on this side, are some tools. These tools are for drawing. And finally, over here in this section is where you actually get to draw. Additionally, you can name your costume over there. That way, when you're programming it and you say change a certain costume, you won't get confused which costume you're changing to. Here you can undo and redo edits you make. we can clear, add, or import costumes. For example, if you have a picture saved on your desktop. Let's try drawing a costume. You'll notice that we'll use these tools over here to draw our costume. We'll also use these all over here to select and use tools to draw the actual costume. We are provided with lots of tools that will help us draw our costume. Paint buckets, stamps, text, various shapes, lines, free draw, and even curves. You might have not have noticed these tools over here. These tools are actually used for different things. We can recenter the costume using this. So if our costume is drawn all the way off to one side, we can recenter it to make it easier. These two buttons will flip. Basically, it flips position, and this one is a crop button that can get rid of unused space. Let's try drawing something. You can delete a costume if you want, so we'll delete it since we don't need it. We'll try and draw our own. We can paint a new costume. Something very quickly that we might want to go over are these two buttons that are found down here. You'll notice that they say bitmap and vector mode. These are two different styles of drawings that different scratchers use all the time. Bitmap mode is very pixelated and blocky. You'll notice over here we can draw something. Now if we use these zoom pictures provided, we can zoom in. Now that we've zoomed in, you'll notice that they're very chunky and blocky. Vector mode is simply the exact opposite. If we zoom out, we can delete this, paint a new costume. All we have to say is switch to vector or convert to vector. Now that we're in vector mode, if we draw a line, it's very smooth, and to prove our point, we can zoom in. Look how smooth the line is compared to vector. Personally, I like vector because you can do this. You can take a line that you drew, click on it, and drag it around to edit it. In bitmap mode, at first, you cannot do this. Once you draw something, it's there permanently. You'll notice that we can drag it around first, but once we click away, it's there forever. That's why I like vector mode. And beware, if you've made something in bitmap mode, in converting to vector, you can't even change the individual things. You only can edit the whole big picture. Let's do something a little creative. I'm not too good of an artist myself, but we can try and give the cat a little mustache. Yeah, I'm not that good at drawing mustaches, as you can see, but there. Now we just have one more thing to go over. You've seen us go over these three tabs: scripts, costumes, and sounds. Sounds lets you, well, play sounds. We can play this meow. You might not hear it, but it's playing a little meow sound. On your Scratch program, you can make it meow also. We can add more sounds. For example, choose a sound from a library. Here's a cricket. You might not hear these sounds, but these are playing sounds. You can see that we have lots and lots and lots of sounds to choose from. We have lots of different categories we can even choose from. So, all in all, we have lots of nice sounds that are provided for us. Here are all of our categories. We have our categories. We also have all the sounds. Once you click on a category, the sounds in that category will appear there. And then to import them in, you have to click the OK button. If you're not happy with your sound, all you have to do is click the cancel button and nothing will happen. These are all of the sounds put together. You can just tune it down to see only animal sounds or only effects or electronic. Now, we can actually do some really cool things with the sound. If we don't like the whole cat's meow, we can simply drag and then click the delete button on our keyboard. And that's gone. Now it's only half of the sound. We can even do more. You can click on Edit, undo something we did, add it back, redo. We can cut, copy, paste, delete, or select all. But that's not it. They give us some effects. We can have it reverse. That sounds really cool. We can silence it, but that's not good. We can make it softer, a certain part, but here's one of my favorites. Fade in, fade out. Now you'll notice that the sound waves got smaller, but what's happening is it's going to be very soft, then it's going to get louder, then get soft again. But it's also reversed, so we can reverse it again. It sounds very nice and pleasant. One thing that we can do, if you don't want to do, is name the project. You can call this tutorial. Now, we can quickly go back to what I mentioned before. These buttons that are shown right up there. If we can't see, we can get a little closer view. Share and see project page. Now, if we see the project page, here's our project. You'll notice this is the page. We have our cat with the mustache, but we didn't do anything. Now, this page has several components. They're actually very useful. On the top, in this section, you can see our name. Over here are instructions for the project. That way, people can see how it works. We also give notes and credits to give credit to the people who might have helped you or inspired you. Over here is the actual project. This is where it runs. I've shared the project, so you'll see this little message. Your project is now shared. This means that people can view it by themselves. Down here, you'll see all the favorites and loves that it got, along with, if it's in any studios, simply groups, or you can embed it in a website. Here, there are some views, how many views it's gotten, 1, me currently, and also if anybody's remixed it or made a copy. Finally, down here we have our comment section. In the comment section, people can comment on your project to give feedback or constructive criticism. If a comment is not, though, feedback or constructive criticism, or being mean, you can really report the comment. Here's an example. Let's say somebody leaves an offensive comment like, "I do not like this." You might not want to report that, but if it's any meaner than that, you might want to. So somebody posted it. Since it is myself, I can't report it. But if somebody did make a comment, then there'd be, over here, a little report button. You can report them for anything. If they're being mean, if they're not being that nice, I mean, there are lots of things that you can do. But most of the people on the Scratch community are very nice, so you shouldn't really fear that. After a long 14 minutes of video, we are finally done, and this is basically an overview of the whole Scratch website, or Scratch editor. If you do have any questions, you might just want to leave a comment in the classroom comments section, and I hope that these 15 minutes prove to be very useful and help you maybe on some of the assignments that we have, like the one that was just posted, the one to move 10 steps. Now you know where to drag all the blocks from and where the cat will actually do the moving. So, after a very, 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 very long and hopefully not too tiring video, we have came to an end.